All right, it's Lambo's Water Sports featuring the Big Brother. This is a Saturday noon kickoff. This is a must-watch game, ladies and gentlemen. When you wake up on a beautiful Saturday, you have your coffee, you have your Coke and rum, you have your Henny, whatever you have on a Saturday that keeps you going, a Bud Light, all that good stuff that hypes you up for college football on a Saturday when you don't have to work. You just wake up and there's football all day long. This is a game, ladies and gentlemen, that you would kick off, and I would definitely watch on to because I have high hopes on this team. You got number 4 team in the nation in Florida State versus an unranked Clemson team. They're supposed to be ranked, but they lost to Duke. They were good last year until they got blown out by Notre Dame. We talked about a lot about the Dabo stuff earlier, but this game, all right, 2 great quarterbacks. Cade Klubnik, who won the Elite 11 back in 2020, 2021. A guy out of Texas, done great things. Jordan Travis, he is one of the top quarterbacks in college football. He's been there for a very, very, very long time. He did injure his elbow, his wrist, and whatnot during that Boston College game. He landed awkwardly on that shoulder, so he's still battling that. Who comes out in this game? Now, both teams, Florida State's undefeated. They barely beat Boston College. Clemson, they're 2-1. They lose to Duke in a bad, loopy fashion. They play some sorry teams. They played, FAU or Charleston Southern, and it was close. The Charleston Southern game was close like the first half, and they blew them out. Clemson still has a lot they need to work on. They have a new offensive coordinator, Garrett Riley, who was from TCU, who took them to the national championship with Max Duggan at quarterback, who wasn't supposed to be the starter. So in this game, Clemson needs to work on offensive line. They really don't have any receivers. They need to use Will Shipley more as far as the run game. Who do you got in this game? Because I'm going to pick Florida State as an upset, even though they're the number 4 team, not really an upset. But Florida State did lose to Clemson last year in a blowout. So I think it'll be an upset if they beat them, despite Clemson being unranked. I got Florida State by 21 points.
I love it. I love it. I've only got them winning by 7. I had 35-28. I do think Clemson is going to, shake some of that rust off, but I don't think it's going to be enough, to pull out a win or anything. The line is only 2.5, which was pretty surprising to me. I thought it might be a little wider, but I guess the recency bias of Florida State almost choking to Boston College is bringing that line down. The quote from the Florida State head coach was that, Jordan the next day is definitely going to be sore. I'm sure he'll be sore, Sunday and Monday, but there's nothing about the injury that we saw that's going to prohibit him from playing any further or playing to his ability at the least. So I don't really think that's anything to worry about in this game. Florida State's offense is scoring 47 points a game, but they're going against a Clemson defense. Now, obviously, they've played 2 garbage teams that, you have to take this information with a grain of salt, obviously, but they're only allowing 19.7 points a game as well. So, it's not a bad defense. Even the game that they lost and, they got whooped, they only allowed 24 points. So, and that's to a Duke team that is very, very much improved. It's not same old Duke that you don't expect to do anything. You definitely expect Duke to win a good amount of games at this time. So I think it's going to be closer than 21. Now, I'm not mad at it. I would personally, I don't really like Clemson, so I would be perfectly fine seeing Florida State blow them out. But, the Florida State, the team as a whole looked shaky in the second half, or really in the fourth quarter last week. But I don't see that really carrying over or anything. Clemson's offense only scored 7 points on Duke, who, like I said, is improved. But the Duke defense and the Florida State defense are not the same. Florida State has got some dogs over there. Allowing 22 points a game. So, that's a little bit higher, but when you're scoring 47.3 a game, you can allow 22 points. I've got Florida State 35-28. I think it'll be competitive for a little bit, but I think by the end of the game, it's going to be pretty clear who's in control.
It comes down to Mike Norvell's play calling and how Mike Norvell is going to spread out that Clemson defense. Ladies and gentlemen, there's about 3 teams that I know specifically that run a 3-3-5 defense. TCU, Clemson, and Nebraska. A 3-3-5 defense, ladies and gentlemen, is 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs, which you can call it a nickel. It's just 5 nickels, 5 cents. When Clemson runs that 3-3-5, it's a real suspect. Defensive-wise, they need to go to the 4 down lineman or 5 down lineman to even get pressure on Jordan Travis. So that 3-3-5 ain't going to work against Florida State. They got guys that can run. They got the wide receiver out of Michigan State, who is a very, very great guy. They got another great running back that can run the ball as well. You got Trey Benson as well against Will Shipley. So who is the best, running backs along those lines? I think it's a very, very tough one. But ladies and gentlemen, in order for Clemson to be successful as well, Will Shipley has to get about 25 touches. Now, I understand they use him as a wide receiver sometimes, but he has to get more touches. You can't give him the ball 10 times and he doesn't touch the ball again. But I think my main concern is that Clemson doesn't have any receivers that we know of. You know what I'm saying? Who's that number 1 wide receiver for Clemson that you look at? They don't have a DeAndre Hopkins. They don't have a Mike Williams. They don't have a slot receiver in Hunter Renfrow. They don't have those guys no more. We didn't even know who was number 1 wide receiver last year. I mean, I'm not sure. But Florida State has Johnny Wilson, who's the leading receiver for Florida State right now. He's a great guy. He's excellent. He's tall. He's aggressive. He's going to jump and catch that ball. But Mike Norvell, what he's going to do on the road, he's going to come down to time possession. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to go for it on 4th down. And they're going to keep Clemson on his heels. I think it's one of those games where you expect Clemson to win at home, but it's going to be one of those games where they make mistakes and turn over the ball as you did last year against South Carolina. Or you expect them to beat South Carolina, and all of a sudden you have the mishap on the special teams, and then you throw an interception, then your pass game isn't good. I have a lot of concerns for the Clemson offensive line. I don't think it's good at all. Florida State's offensive line is completely better, but the only problem is if Clemson does not bring pressure to Jordan Travis, he's going to have all day to throw the ball. And I promise you, Florida State is going to tear that ass up if Clemson does not pressure them at all. Who's the better quarterback in this one, Jordan Travis or Cade Klubnik?
I mean, I'm rolling Jordan Travis 100 times out of 100 on this one. I have not seen anything yet that would point to, Klubnik being on the level of Jordan Travis at all. I mean, and, I know he won Elite 11. You don't do that with no talent, right? He's a very talented guy. But on the field against an actual opponent, we haven't seen it. We have not seen it. So I don't know. And like to the 3-3-5 thing, he can put 4 down linemen and still run a nickel set if you just replace a linebacker with a safety. And that's what he did so long with Isaiah Simmons. Now I get it. You don't have an Isaiah Simmons Swiss Army knife that you can use everywhere on defense. But like you said, like you're going to have to get a good amount of pressure, and against a good O-line, you need 4 down linemen. So like I don't trust a 3 down lineman set to be able to get through that O-line consistently. And, obviously they'll be bringing linebackers on the blitz to be able to try and get that. But to your point, they have a really good wide receiver 1. You can't just leave him by himself out there. So you do need to, I think, run most of this game in the nickel. But when you do that, you can still have 4 down linemen. Just bring a strong safety as a linebacker in that scenario. You can cover the underneaths way better, which in a passing offense that we saw wasn't very good against the Power 5 opponent in Duke. You're going to have to get stuff going underneath before you can stretch it out and open it up. So they need to be able to be ready for that. I have full confidence that they will be ready for it. But just because it's Dabo, I still trust him as a really good coach. But he's going to have to do something. He can't just run the 3-3-5. I don't think that's going to work against this team.
No, it won't work just as a team. That's why they will lose, and hopefully they lose. Now, I don't have any Florida State stuff. No, I got one T-shirt. I got a Florida State T-shirt from back in 2013 when they won the national championship under Jameis Winston. But there's no need for me to wear any gear in this one. Florida State's easily going to win. Whether I'm right or wrong, Florida State's going to win. I think Clemson is going to be seeing some trouble. The last time Clemson went 2-2, I think, was in 2021 when DJ Uiagalelei was the first-year starter. They went 2-2 and finished 10-3. So Clemson will lose at home. Florida State will pull it off and still be one of the best teams in the ACC and will compete for an ACC championship, probably against is either them or North Carolina. I mean, it's going to be one of those two by the end of the year. So this is Lambo's What is Sports featuring the Big Brother. We got a lot more college football we got to talk about because you know why? Colorado versus Oregon. Yes, it's a great one at 3:30. Primetime, Deion Sanders. He goes to Eugene, Oregon. And we know that Dan Lanning has said some things about Colorado earlier before the season when they made the move to the Big Ten or whatnot, when they traded conferences. Oh, when's the last time Colorado's done anything? Is it personal? Did he make that personal weeks ago? Let's hope Oregon don't do the same thing that Colorado State has done, even though they made it a competitive game. So, quarterback matchups, Drew Sanders versus Bo Nix. We'll be talking about that in the next episode of Lambo's World of Sports. We'll catch you in the next 5 minutes. Total Pro Nation, Sideline Sports Network. We got you in the next action of Oregon versus